those who have just joined. And today we are going to continue with our sessions from yesterday. We talked about Microsoft PowerPoint. We did some basic stuff. I'm sure by now we all know how to open PowerPoint. So without explaining plenty. If you have any questions from yesterday, you can ask while I wait for my PowerPoint to open. If not, we'll be continuing. I showed you how to create some basic slides. Created a blank slide yesterday where we're doing our group work, right? I showed you how to insert tables. I explained the layouts. I told you that there are different layouts for each slide and you can use them. I talked about the fonts in Microsoft Word. Most of these things are also repeated in PowerPoint, like the font formatters, the text alignments, our bullets, our bulletin, and then we also have the signs and shapes. Basically, we have a lot of them. Okay. I talked about the widgets here and how they are resizable and how you can basically move them around in your document. And so we basically finished talking about the home tab yesterday. For this, find, replace, and select, they are all in the Microsoft Word, and we've already discussed those things. So we're going to go to insert. Now, the insert tab basically allows you to insert what? New things into your slide. Okay. Now this is my current slide. I wanted to insert a table. I wanted to, let's start with a new slide. If I wanted to add a new slide to it, all I have to do is click on new slide, and a new slide will be added down. All right. So, like I was saying, if you want to create a new slide, you simply click on new slide here, and then it will be added down. Okay. And if you want to actually add a new slide with a different layout, you have to click on this small arrow, like a drop down. It will open up, and you can pick the layout you want for your new slide, and that layout will be used. Okay. Now, we actually talked about how to add tables into your slide yesterday when we're adding our group members. I told you that if you want to add a table, like this, you go to the insert tab, then you click on the table, then you select the number of rows and columns you want to have. For now, I want to have two, and then just drag it downwards. This will be, let's make it our headers. So we'll have name, we'll have index number, right? So basically, you can just add the name of your group members and then the index numbers. Let's give our slide some heading. Let's call that group B. Let's make it B. So basically, we can add as many rows as we want to the slide. But remember from yesterday, I told you that always make sure that whatever you are adding, it does not go beyond this white background that we have here, okay? Because that's just the maximum height that your content should get. It shouldn't exceed the box. If it goes beyond the box, when you're in presentation mode, you will not be able to see the content that goes outside the box, okay? So that's something that you should know when you're adding. The presentation is not like Microsoft Word. It's there for you to basically put a slideshow of what short form content. You summarize everything and put it there. So if you find out that what you are going to put on one slide is too much for that slide, cut it, like divide it, leave some on one slide, and then move to the next slide and put it there. If not, if you paste the whole thing and it goes outside of the box when you are in presentation mode, you'll be missing some of your content basically. Now, apart from that, I talked about adding notes to your slides, and I think that was it was around that side that you lost me. Basically, the notes allow you to add your own personal notes to a slide. So let's say that your lecturer has handed out some a PowerPoint presentation of the course to you, and then you downloaded the slides, you are reading through it, Now instead of having a pen and a paper on your desk, and when you finish reading one slide, you write down. If you're on a computer, when you open up the slide and you finish reading whatever is on this slide, you want to keep some notes. You can just what click on add notes. You see, click to add notes. Just click here and say okay. So this is some new information that I've learned, right? And this note will be kept. And this note is specific to this particular slide, okay? When you go to this slide, you will not see that note. Okay. So notes help you to just keep some short what text from your own what PowerPoint presentation. You can put some short text there. It allows you to basically remember things like whatever you keep there, you're able to retrieve it later on. If I want to hide it, I'll just click on the notes, hide it, so it doesn't show up. Later on, if I want to show it, just click on it again and then it will show up. I hope I'm making some sense, right? So if you want to add comments, I mentioned yesterday that comments are different from notes because comments, we usually use comments when we are reviewing a document. We were not able to talk about reviews in Microsoft Word, but when you are supervising students for a research or whatever you are doing and you are working with uh, some people, okay, most of the time you do not want to have everyone just writing whatever they want in the document. Okay, what you can do is you can use comments. And the comments, if I want to, let's say if there was a definition of breast cancer, right? Okay, so let's say someone say breast cancer, then I tell you that okay, this is my definition of breast cancer, right? And then it is wrong, or I type something wrong, or there's an issue with whatever I'm putting there. If it is research, if there's an issue with your references, and your supervisor wants you to change it, you don't have to type here. Like they'll come and type something under like this change some this change your reference, right? Like this is dirty work. And so what they can do is instead of typing it inside of your document, they can use the comments. So I'll just highlight the reference that you have done wrong or the statement that you have done wrong. Like whatever I want you to take note of, I'll just highlight it and I'll click on new comments. Okay. Once I click on new comment, I can just tell you that I can just tell okay, please change this reference. And that's it. If I send this document to you right now, when you open it, you will see this my comment there. Okay, so that's the use of comments. Comments are completely different from notes, so please take note of that. All right. So I spoke about the changing the view or the layout of your PowerPoint with this. We're able to change the view of the slides panel. Okay, and you're also able to change this into grid mode if you want. You can also change this into reading mode if you want, or you can just go into presentation mode. Go into presentation mode by clicking on this. This will send you to presentation mode so that you can present. And I remember that I told you that when you're presenting, you can navigate through your slides by using the arrow keys. Use the left, right, left, right, right. If you want to close or get out of presentation mode, press escape, the ESC on your keyboard, right? Talked about zooming in and zooming out already, so I don't need to go into that. So let's go back to our insert tab. That's that's about tables. We've talked about tables. Now, what about pictures? If I'm doing a presentation on breast cancer, definitely sometimes it's good to add pictures, right? You need to add some visual flair to your presentation so that your audience will not be bored. And of course, usually when you add visuals to your presentation, it makes it nice. And people who are listening to you or watching you can easily grasp whatever you are trying to send across. So if I wanted to add a picture, let's go to pictures. I can insert a picture from online or I can insert from my device. And remember, this is similar to Microsoft Office Word when we had to add pictures. You can add pictures from online or from your computer, right? So I don't want to waste my time. Just select any of the pictures. Now, when you're using the online, what happens is that when you select a picture, Office will download it into your slides like this. Now you can resize it. As you can see how I'm resizing, you resize it by using the what? The dots. Alright? See that? Resize it by using that. Now, if you don't want to distort the picture, like if you don't want to spoil it, resize, you usually don't want to be resizing from left to right, because you see that when you do that, it stretches the image. You usually end up distorting the quality of the image. So it's always good to resize from the corners. That way, when you are resizing, it actually maintains the aspect ratio of the image. Okay, and like our text or our any other widget, we can actually align this. We can use our alignment to move it to the center. So that's something that you should keep in mind. If I want to drag it, I can just drag it across, place it wherever I want. So let's just assume that this is a breast cancer image. Okay. Now, I don't want to look for breast cancer images. Let's just assume that that's it. All right. So that's about adding an image. It's pretty simple. Go to insert, go to picture. If you want to add from your computer, you can just click on this PC. I'm going to go to my downloads, and I'm going to select a picture that I want. Now, you almost always have to resize the picture fit. Okay. So this means that you can actually insert more than one picture into a single slide, right? Just resize it to the size that you want. All right. So that's about pictures. There are so many things you can do with the pictures. If you want to improve the quality, if you want to remove the background, Microsoft PowerPoint has a remove background feature. So in case you have a picture and you want to remove the background, let me see. I think I have one. So instead of using the insert, I can just drag and drop it inside like this. If you're on the computer, that's an easy way to go about adding pictures into your PowerPoint or your web. Click on remove document. Let's see if it's able to remove it very well. Oh, that's terrible. So it didn't do the removal justice, but it's good to know that you can remove background from your images, but this does not seem to do a very good job. So I'm not going to do that. You can make corrections. Corrections allows you to add certain contrast and brightness, basically changing the lighting on your on your image. I wanted a much darker image. This will be good. Right? And if you want to change some coloring, you can do that. Change the coloring. I want to make it obvious. I have to select something like this so you see that you can actually change the color of your image if you want. I don't want to do that. So there are so many things you can actually do here. Take effects. Look at that. I don't want to do that though. But you can also change the transparency. Now, what exactly is the transparency? Basically, it allows you to change the opacity of an image, like how deep it shows, right? So there are times where you want to show something, but you don't want it to be too visible, right? Like this text, for instance, this is visible. If I want it to appear in such a way that it's not too bright, I'll have to change the opacity of the text. And the same thing applies to an image. If you want to change the opacity of an image or how visible it is, use the transparency. Then you can just select any of this. This will make it slightly bright, not too bright. Right? You have options that you can pick from. So you can basically tune it in. Make it 100%, it will just be too low. Like, you see, make it 100%. It'll make it look like there's no image there, but there's an image there. So keep that in mind when you are doing your transparency. Those who know how to edit pictures, you will see how useful this is when you are taking your time to design PowerPoints. Okay, and that's something I have not mentioned. Okay, there are people online whose job is to just design PowerPoint slides, like the templates that we're using. They design premium templates and they sell it online. That's someone's job, and you don't have to be employed to do that. You just need to know how to design PowerPoint templates. You design it, you upload it online, people pay for it to use it, right? So that's something to keep in mind. Those of you who may ask why is it useful to just do these things now, apart from just using it in a classroom, you can also use it to get you can use it to get some income. So that's about inserting pictures. There are so many things we can do with the picture formatter. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time doing that. I can change the style of my image. There are so many things. So I think it'll be good if you go in and then basically explore these things yourself. You can make an image like a background image. You can turn an image into like a background image by either bringing it backwards or forward. You can do that around here. Okay, bring it forward. If you send it forward, it means that it will be the top layer. Okay, which means that it can be on top of things like this. Okay, but if you send it to the back, the text becomes what comes to the on top of the image. All right. So I hope I'm making sense. All right. So if you are confused, just raise your hand and then I'll attend to you. All right. So you can bring it backwards, send it to the front, basically allowing you to like giving you the feasibility to change how things look inside your PowerPoint. All right. Now let's go back to the insert. In like our Microsoft Word, we can actually do we can actually take screenshots. I think the last time I showed you how that's done. If I wanted to take a screenshot, just take a screenshot. This this is taking a screenshot from the Google Meet. I can just use that image inside of my what my PowerPoint. All right. So let me ask you a question. Okay, so if I have a bunch of images, let's say we're doing this presentation on breast cancer, and I had a bunch of pictures that I could actually use instead of just taking my time to create and write the text all over the place with this presentation, right? Someone might ask, so how do I turn the pictures that I have into what? A slide. Okay. Let's say you have a lot of pictures on breast cancer. You want to turn it into slide presentation so that you don't have to go and type everything down. How do you do that? All right. So in order to answer that, I'm going to just take this out. Let's create a new one. I'm going to go to photo album. Then I'm going to use the photo album. I'm going to create a new photo album. Then I'm going to select from my disk. Okay, select from the disk. Then I'm going to select the pictures that I want to use as my slide. I'm going to select these images that I have. This will do. And so, for those of you who don't know, when you want to select multiple files in your computer, what you do is when you select one like this, sometimes if they are just following each other, you can just drag. You just drag through and it will highlight everything. But if they are not following each other, like in my case, these two are following each other, all right. So you have to hold control, press on control, hold it and click on this image. It will highlight it and it will leave it. You scroll down, then you hold the control again and click on another image. It will highlight it. If you don't do that, you go and click, it will just unselect the first ones and leave the latest one. Okay, so that's a little trick on how to select multiple files at the same time. Just hold the control key and select on whatever file you want to select. This once you do that and you click on what insert, this will create a photo album. And if I want, I can change the order. Okay, but you have a preview of the files here. Now, you want to make all the pictures black and white, you can do that. I'm not going to do that, but let's look at here. Okay, I hope you can see uh, like what we have here. We have picture layout. Do you want it to fit into a slide, or how do you want to do it? Do you want to make it one picture? Do you want to put two pictures in a slide? I want to just leave it one per slide. Okay, I want to fit every picture into a slide, right? Now, if you wanted to add themes, you can do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to click on create. Now, are we seeing what's going on? This has basically turned my photo my photo distance, my photos into a PowerPoint presentation. And you can see that photo album by what Mushe. The reason why my name is there is because I've signed into my distance, my OneDrive, so it knows my account. You can just change this into what your group title, like we had previously. This will now be what our group work. Now you can just put in whatever you want. You can change this. I'll tell you how. I'll show you how to change the background color here, just a bit. But let's go to our next slide. You see that this is using the exact images that I've selected. Okay, as our slide presentation. It's using that as our slide presentation, and I can just show you that. Go to my downloads. These are the files that I used. Okay, so if you have a very good or well-designed images that can fit into a PowerPoint presentation, you can actually use it as your PowerPoint presentation, right? See the images. It's the same thing, but I've just turned it into a PowerPoint presentation, right? So that's about that. Now, how do I change this background color? Black right now. I don't want to have it black. I want to change the color. How do I do that? We're going to go into our put right click and format the background. You can do that. Let's go to design and you can go to what format background and change that. You can change it into what you could use an image as your background color, or you could use a solid color. I want to use a color. It's already on solid fill. So all I have to do next is what? Select the color that I want to use. And just like that, this will work, right? If you want to apply this background to all the slides that you have, you can just click on apply all. I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to leave it this way. If you wanted to use a gradient color, you select gradient and then you just select the colors that you want to use. Which gradient color should I use? Terrible with the colors, so you know what? Let's just leave it that way. The designers can finish it up on their own. No issue. So that's about that. We have just changed the background like that. Alright. If you want to change the size of this slide. Now, under normal circumstance, You know what? Let's go back to the insert. I want to finish everything here first. We've talked about photo albums. We have finished adding a photo album as our slide. All good, right? If you want to add shapes, you can do that. We all know what shapes are. Oh, we have someone here who doesn't know what shapes are. We talked about shapes in our previous sessions. They basically allow you to draw things into your document, okay? So if I want to draw something, I want to add like a yes. Let's see. So this is how you draw things, okay? Let's add some shadow to it. So that's basically how we add what shapes. It also has similar effects like the picture. You're able to change the color. You're able to change you're able to add reflections to it. You're able to add borders. It has all kinds of stuff. So you have to go and explore these things on your own. There are a lot of things that I'm just running through. So if you want to actually dive deeper into it, definitely this online class will not be enough. And so you should definitely work with us on the in-person class, okay? So that we'll take things deeper and then you can basically understand it. Now, before I continue, like, am I moving too fast? Yesterday, someone told me I was moving too fast, so I need to know if I'm moving too fast. Just feel free and then mention so that I can just backtrack and then explain whatever you are missing. Does anyone have any concern? No concerns. All right. So that's about it. That's how we can add shapes, can add icons, 3D models. We talked about all these things in our Microsoft Word session. Okay. So there are times when you are working on your PowerPoint, you want to be able to have an overview view of your slide presentation. That's where the zoom in comes in. This is not Zoom meeting call. If you use this, it's not used for Zoom calls. You click on it, gives you like it allows you to put on a summary or a summarized view of your slide presentation. Okay, it's not Zoom call, so take note of that. All right, so you can just select the slide that you want. You can insert it, and then it will. Let's just do that. So there we go. It's here. Basically, zooms in and put everything into a summary form for you. Okay, that way you can have a summary of your slide presentation without any issues. All right. So that's the use of the zoom. Okay. So I'm pretty sure we talked about links in our word, basically allowing you to add links into your document so that people can access external links, website, or any other thing that you want to put there for people's reference. Right? So what happens when they click on a hyperlink? You can decide all that with the action what button here. Okay. Once you set the action, whatever happens, like so you can set an action like okay, right? So let's leave the mouse over. Okay. So here's something. Okay. Basically, if we click on this, we've set an action. The action is basically like if someone click on this text, we want them to go to google.com. And so because I'm on PowerPoint, if I want to click on the link myself, I have to press Control and then click so that it will click, right? And this is what is going to happen. Basically, the action allows you to set what is going to happen. Someone click on something or when someone hover over something. So if I didn't want this to be a click, I could make it in such a way that when I hover my mouse over it like this, it will basically open google.com for me. Alright. I can show you that. Let's just go here. Link. Just change it to- This time around, I'll change it to youtube.com so that you see something. Right? Let's go. See that, right? So I had to go into presentation mode before that will happen. And so when you add the hover action, hover hover action like supersedes that of what? The click action. What do I mean by that? Before you can click on something on the computer, you need to put your mouse on it, right? And so once you put your mouse on something, we call it hovering. You are hovering over it. You are on top of it, let me put it that way, right? And so before you can click on something, you are hovering over, you need to hover over it before you can click, right? And so what we have here is two what? Actions. One action is when they click, it will open google.com. But when they put their mouse over it, like what I'm doing here with this, like when you put your mouse over it like this, it's supposed to open up what? It's supposed to open up what do we call it? It's supposed to open youtube.com, right? And so how do I show that? If I hover my text like this, it will open youtube.com. You can see there, right? Good. But in order to click, I'll have to hold and click. And I need to hover before that will happen. So my clicking action will not take place at all because of the hover action. So you need to know that when you are adding the actions, when you add a hover action, you don't need to add a click action because the hover action will always what take place before the click action will happen. So that's something to keep in mind when you are doing these things. All right. Is anyone confused? Is anyone lost? Am I still in the meeting? Am I still on the meeting? Okay.
Yeah, we are hearing.
Just thought maybe the way you are silent. All right. So let's go back to our PowerPoint. We've talked about actions. We've talked about the hover action. We've talked about the what? The hover is the same as the mouse over. Okay. I'm going to turn that to none. We've talked about the mouse click action. All of that. You can even make a sound when they put their mouse on something like if you want your PowerPoint to play some sound when they put their mouse on the text like this. You can actually do all these things with the action what? The action menu here, okay? That's all about that. We've talked about comments, so I'm not going to talk about that. We've talked about text boxes already, basically allowing you to input what text on your slide. We've talked about that yesterday. I'm not going to talk about that. We've not talked about headers and footers, right? I think we discussed something similar when we were on our when we were talking about Office Word. Basically, in PowerPoint here, the headers are not as flexible They're not that flexible compared to Microsoft Word. Okay, with the PowerPoint, you are basically given the chance to add the date time onto your PowerPoint slides. You could put the date time on either the header or the footer of your slide. And sometimes when you want to put in like slide numbers, just like our page numbers on Microsoft Word, we're able to do that on PowerPoint. Okay, so that's about that. And if I wanted to just demonstrate and show you the time, you could do that here by just selecting this. And then if you want to have a fixed date, you select fixed date. This allows you to put the date, a specific date that you want to have on your PowerPoint slide. So if you wanted to add this, you want to apply to only a single slide, like the current slide that we are on, just click on apply. But if you want this to apply to, so you see the date, right? If you want this to apply to all your PowerPoint slides, you will have to update that. So I'm just going to go back. And then, yeah, there we go. Now we select this and then we'll apply to all, okay? When you do that, when you go to the other slides, you see the date right there. It's the date here. So it will appear on all your slides. That's about that. Now, if you want to add like if you want to add it on a footer, you can do that. Right. So if you wanted to add some text on your footer, right, you can actually do that here. And so in my case, if I just want to add want to do that to all my this time, you see that we have it right there, right? You see it here. Because I applied to all the slides, we'll have it on each of what our slides of the date, and then we have what the text that I've added. So this allows you to add custom text. If you want to add the slide numbers, you can do that so that your slides will be numbered from 1 to what to the total number of slides that you have. You can do all that. All right. So you can see that my slide number is right here. So that's about that. That's about the headers and footers. Do you have any questions? Any questions? I've been talking for long. I need to get some questions from you guys so that I know that you understand. Well, I'm on hospital for nothing. Not a pick. Yeah, call I think yes, one down. So any questions? Round
Yeah. Can you take us over or take put
the
in
slide
the
number.
slides numbers? I didn't get that place.
Right.
Yeah.
So the slide numbers is basically at the head and footer this thing. So you go there and then you see slide numbers. Just check it. Click on apply. That's all. Do you understand? Uh-huh. So it's not that difficult.
Understand now. Yeah.
Anything like that. Anything gonna problem. So that's about the headers and footers. The word art, the word art, I'm not going to like talk much about it. I think we discussed that feature shortly when we were talking about the Microsoft Office Word, right? Basically, it allows you to add some formatted text onto your documents. Text could be like your own designed art, okay, something like this. Let's make it right. So I'm going to add it here. Go to insert, go to word art. Let me use this. So we can see that this is different from a normal text, but this has some reflection effects to it. You can change the effects, you can manipulate the text, and so it all depends on what you want to do. And those of you who are into designs, I think you need to explore this a lot more so that you'll be able to do some good work when you are doing your own designs. And just like our images, you can send this to the back, send it to the front, basically allowing you to manipulate how it appears on the slide. Okay. All right. So that's about footers, head and footer, and then word art, right? The date and time here is not the same as the date and time that we had on our header and footer. This one allows you to insert date and time into the document. Okay, so if I wanted to add the date and time that we were designing this slide, right? I could just go into insert text box. Where is it? Just draw here, right? And I can just see today is 28th, right? The 8th November 2025, right? So this is normal, all right. But what if you wanted to do it like there's a better way to do this? Let me put it that way. And one way to do it is to just use the built-in what date and time feature that you have in Office. Okay, so I just go and click here. Then I'll click date and time. I can select the date. So here we have what the date and time being automatically set for us. Today 28th. So if I want to use any of the format that we have here, we can actually use it. If you want to use the current time, you can do that. So I'm going to select this. Then check this. Did I click on the header and footer? So it basically this allows you to insert the date and time instead of just typing it, right? And you can choose any format that you want from here. If you wanted the current time, you can select the time and just click OK. That's it. Now the slide number, this one will allow you to insert the current slide number to whatever you want. Okay. So if I want it on let's say I want it here down here. Let's say slide number. Let's go here and set the slide number. You see that? I don't need to count the slide myself. I'll just do it and it will be done automatically. So that's the use of the date and time and the slide number. So let's talk about objects. Let me create a new slide. So assuming that you are on PowerPoint and then you want to work with Excel, how will you do that? I'm not talking about creating tables. I'm talking about like bringing Excel itself into PowerPoint with all the features of Excel and everything. How will you do that? This might sound like something that we cannot do because these are two different applications, right? We can do that with the objects feature that we have in PowerPoint, basically giving you the chance to work with two different applications and just bringing them in together in one. So let me just show you how to do that. I'm going to change the background color here so that we can see what is going on. Change the background to this. Now I'm going to go to my to insert menu. Then I'm going to go to objects. I'm going to select Excel. I'm going to select this. This is a worksheet. If you wanted to insert a chart, you remember the charts that we're working with on our Microsoft Word. You remember I showed you how to add smart charts, basically giving you the chance to manipulate the view of the charts using what Excel. If you remember very well, this feature in Microsoft Word is using the same thing that we have here, like the objects. It's basically using objects to manipulate your chart. Okay, so we can do the same thing here, but I want to use a worksheet which we are all familiar with. I think we should all be familiar with Excel by now, even though we've not talked about it, but you should at least have seen it before. So if I just click on Excel, which is a worksheet, this will bring in complete Excel into my PowerPoint slide. Now you see that this is different from just inserting tables, right? Obviously, if you look at the view, you know that this is definitely like Excel. If nothing else, you can see that we have the sheet number here, and I can add what another sheet if I wanted to. Right? This is only possible when you are in Excel, but we have managed to bring this into our PowerPoint. And so this allows us to do a lot of things. One of them is what? Calculations. And so if I have like a bunch of what? Data, let me just say, mm, right. So let's just say this small data that I have is actually my lesson. So zoom in so that you can see what's going on. I'm going to re-enter that 100. So what if I wanted to do something like, let's say, add cell what? Let's say I wanted to add this and that, right? I can use my Excel formulas instead of just manually typing this. Basically, we can bring in the Excel features that we have into the PowerPoint. And so I know we've not talked about Excel yet, but just bear with me. If I do A22 plus B22, I'll get what? The sum of A22 and all that. So I can just what? Do the same thing to calculate the values here. This is like this is huge, but because of how I'm illustrating this, you might not see how useful this is. But if you are someone who has worked with these documents before, like you know that this is actually very useful. And so the objects feature allows you to bring Excel or any other this thing that it supports directly into your PowerPoint, basically allowing you to work with them. Okay. So that's about that. I'm going to go back to the object. I'll show you. So this allows you to bring in what? The worksheet. We have binary worksheet, which we don't really need. Then we have what? Excel charts, which is the one that is used by the smart charts that I talked about earlier on. Okay, we have macro. We have a lot of things here. We have graphs. We have even PowerPoint presentation. You can bring presentations inside another what? Inside another slide. Okay. So It just allows you to embed things inside of your slide. Even you can bring what Microsoft Office Word inside. If you have your Word document, you can bring it inside uh, your listing, inside your slide. Okay, so this is very useful. But for now, because we are all new to these things, might not see how useful this is. But just remember that when you want to work with external applications like PowerPoint, Excel, MS Word, or even what do we call it? All the applications of Microsoft Office, basically the charts, all those things, it allows you to bring it into your PowerPoint presentation in a very simple and easy way without having to worry yourself. Okay. All right. So that's about the objects. With equations, equations allows you to do your mathematics and things. And I don't think we talked about this when we're dealing with our MS Word, but basically this allows you to do a lot like formulas instead of manually typing things or copying from GPT. You can do these things in using the formula. Okay. So yeah, that's about formulas. I'm not going to go deep into this. If you are into mathematics, you can explore it yourself. All right. So what about videos? We talked about how to insert videos a while back. You can hello. So that's about the formulas. We talked about inserting videos, and you can work with the videos, basically inserting a YouTube video or a file from your computer. The same thing you can insert or an audio like a music file into your PowerPoint. You can even record. So if I wanted to record, I just click on record. I'll record a sound and I can play it right inside the PowerPoint. Okay. Now, one thing that you should know is that you see, Google Meeting allows you to do what? Screen share and like what I'm doing right now. You can actually do the same thing in PowerPoint by using the screen recorder. You can record this and then embed it inside your what? Your PowerPoint presentation. So let's say that you want to record yourself doing something in the computer. You want to bring it inside your what? Your PowerPoint. You just go and click on screen recording, and then you basically what? Select the portion that you want. You want to highlight the whole screen, just highlight the whole screen. If you want to highlight just a small portion, you do that. And you click on what? Record. Once you click on record, it gives you a timer that to just what? Start recording whatever you are doing there. Okay, so let's see, I'm just going to type something, right? Then I'm going to stop the recording. Now, this has been recorded and it has been what? Inserted into the current slide. So how do we know this? We'll show you how to do this. Let's do this. I'm going to resize it so that it becomes viewable. So if I click on play, then to just what? Start recording whatever you are doing there. Okay, so you see that you can even hear what I'm like what I was talking about. You can even hear it on the recording, right? So that is useful. And it is not limited to recording from PowerPoint itself, actually. You can record outside of PowerPoint and then it will be inserted right into your PowerPoint presentation. Okay. So this is also very useful. And obviously you can do corrections of the video quality, change the color, the frame. There are a lot of things that you can manipulate from here, okay. Just like the way we're manipulating our pictures. You can change the video borders, you can change the shape. So I wanted to use something like this. this one. See that it will change how my what my video frame is shaped. It will shape it into what one of our shapes that we have in the what that is said here. Yeah, the home button, the home menu. Okay, so that's about how we insert a video into our PowerPoint presentation. And you can do your manual insertion, you can do screen recording, you can even record yourself on audio, talk. Then once you click on the record, name it. I'm not going to name it. Press on the record here. And this, whilst I'm talking, it will basically be recording everything. And then when I'm done, I'll simply have to click OK. And this will be inserted. Like it's actually inserted on top of my what? My slide here. So let me play that. Press on the record here. And this, whilst I'm talking, it will basically be recording everything. And then when so I'm you see done, that this like there's no limit to what you can do in PowerPoint. Okay, there are a lot of things that you can do. And if I wanted to move this into a new slide, I'll just cut it. I've actually done the cutting already. Then I'll create a new slide. I can paste the audio here. I can replay it. That's just press on the record here. And this, so there are a lot of things that you can do basically be just from this alone. Covered a lot. I know I speed run a lot of these things because our time is fast spent and it's already like 9:25. So I have to speed run this, and of course I'll be uploading this into the YouTube channel. Please want to follow it up at a slower pace, that you can do that at your own time. So any issues, any concerns, any questions before I continue? Basically covered everything on the insert tab. Any questions, additions, subtractions? That's fine. So tomorrow we'll take a look at the designs, how we can make our slide looks nice. Like you can make it look nicer like this. And use any of the design templates that they have. We'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at the animations. Like let me see. I use just to show you what we're going to do tomorrow. Like something like this. Okay. Show you how to do those things. Show you how to animate your slides and then the whole presentation, okay. And then we'll draw the curtains on the whole PowerPoint thing because it's quite it's quite long and we still have Excel to tackle. So we'll take a look at the drawing, which we are not going to spend much time on that. Just look at the design, transition and animations, and then we can close the curtain on PowerPoint. Okay. So if you don't have any questions or any issues, I think what I've covered so far should actually be enough for you to be able to create and work with your own PowerPoint presentations. Because this is not something that like is too complicated for you. I think it's easy to grasp. Once you get a computer and then you start working with it, you'll see how easy it is. Right? So without further talking, I think we are done for today. So